Hey, let's bring in Michelle Malkin. She joins us every Thursday from Colorado Springs. Hello, Michelle.
Hi there.
Hey, let's talk about the ad that everybody is talking about. Most are just disgusted by how low the campaign has gone. It's where a guy tells his heart-wrenching story and essentially says that Mitt Romney killed my wife. What's interesting is a campaign spokesperson and the campaign themselves are trying so desperately to distance themselves from the super PAC that put this out. Stephanie Cutter, is being referred to as a liar by the Romney campaign because she said she didn't know anything about it. And yet, she did know the details of this guy's case because, Michelle, we're going to play a little snippet of a conference call she hosted with Joe Sopcich back in May where he told his story. Listen.
After we lost our jobs, we found out that we were going to lose our health insurance and that our pensions hadn't been funded like Bain promised they would be. I was lucky to find another job as a custodian in a local school district. They gave me some health insurance, but I couldn't afford to buy it for my wife. A little while later, she was diagnosed with lung cancer.
Thank you, Joe. We really appreciate you and David sharing your experiences.
So that's kind of straight. That's kind of specific for somebody who says she doesn't know the story. She was actually hosting the conference call.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Pants are on fire, skirts are on fire, hair is on fire at the White House. This is a straight-up lie. I'd like to see the Romney campaign really hammer away at this, and they really should be on fire themselves at Team Romney over how they've been slandered and libeled and caught in a blatant lie here by the Obama administration. It is, and I think they should repeat it loudly. And instead, unfortunately, and of course this has been the buzz on the right, we've got Romney campaign staffers talking about Romney Care instead. Hello! This is totally blown up in their faces, and it's time to nail the administration and the campaign for what is obviously clear illegal coordination.
But you do not like the Romney camp's response.
No, I mean, what they've got to do is fight back and hard on the counter-narrative here. Remember, there's a bigger picture of smearing Republicans and conservatives as heartless murderers. That is what they're trying to do here. When of course, Romney has nothing to do with what happened here. And, of course, the more that this Joe Sopcich is on the air telling the real story and doing the fact-checking that obviously the Obama campaign and the White House didn't do, the worse and worse it looks for the Democrats.
And speaking of that, Michelle, in fact, the details are coming out more that basically the campaign did not ask the right questions or glossed over them, because the latest thing is that Sopcich was on a different cable network, and he talked about how it wasn't just that his job was sort of pulled out from underneath him and eliminated. It's true, the factory did close, but he was offered a buyout. Listen.
In my case, in my department, they actually offered to buy our jobs out from underneath us.
Oh, so he did have the opportunity to take some cash from Bain Capital, but he chose not to.
Yes, that's right. Rapacious vulture capitalism that he admitted was going to take care of him in this buyout. And, of course, the fact that they had insurance at the time, that it was years and years later that the wife was diagnosed and unfortunately passed away. And, look, I don't think that any hostility or animosity needs to be trained at this man. He is a tool, and he was being directed with this story by people in both the White House, hello, Stephanie Cutter, and at Priorities USA, the PAC that is run by the former White House spokesperson, Bill Burton, and they need to answer for it. Right. Not just in the narrative, media, storytelling context, but as I said, there ought to be legal ramifications, because these are the very same people who spend every waking moment accusing Republicans of doing the very same thing that they've been caught red-handed doing.
Michelle, Dick Morris was on our air last night, and you were talking about the response that Mitt Romney and company should have. Dick Morris had a suggestion, and it went like this. Listen.
I would put Ann Romney on. I'm going to have her say, Barack Obama is running an ad saying my husband is not sensitive to people with cancer, and in fact accusing him of helping to aid in the death of a woman who died from cancer. Well, as you may know, I battled breast cancer, and I had no more supportive person than Mitt Romney.
Well,
Does that work, Michelle?
I would think so. I think what he's getting there, of course, is what a lot of us have been saying. We want to see some spit. We want to see some fire. We want to see them get in the faces of people who are accusing them of every last sin on the planet.
Michelle, don't you think the Romney campaign is trying to take the high road while they are down on the low road?
But there's nothing dirty and low about responding directly to these character assassination attempts. And you know what? You don't leave that to surrogates, especially when they're attacking you personally, Mitt Romney, your character, your integrity. They're attacking your wife. They're attacking your wife's horse, for goodness sake. They're attacking your way of life and our way of life.
Right, Rafalca. Just for the record.
Rafalca derangement syndrome.
Exactly. Okay, you're just going something new.
RDS.
Michelle, I have another theory, and I thought about it, and I think it's brilliant. You ready? I believe that the Obama administration, the re-election campaign, is absolutely on message and has to be pleased. From Harry Reid's outrageous statement to this outrageous ad, for 2 weeks we're not talking about the 3.5 years where the president was in office. We're not talking about the economic numbers, which aren't going to get better. We're not talking about the stimulus package, which is missing in action. We are talking about ads and responses instead of the record. So I think it's going perfect for President Obama.
Well, it only is because the Romney campaign has failed to capitalize and pivot. I mean, they were given a golden opportunity with this steelworker's wife cancer ad to turn around and say, guess what? You know who the real murderers are in the White House? If you want to talk about figurative murder, how about the Obama jobs death toll? How about the thousands of workers who've had their pensions and health care stripped from them because of this crony administration giving away things to big labor? Let's talk about all of the jobs that have been snuffed out over the past 4 years. But no, instead, we had a Romney operative talking about Romney Care. What?
Yeah, I mean, and in fact, if you were producing the ad, you would focus in on the non-union workers at, say, car dealerships and Delphi and GM and car manufacturers that lost their jobs that nobody's talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Look, the right and the conservatives and Team Romney have all of the ammunition they need. And as Brian said, it's the record. And the Romney campaign is not unfamiliar with the Delphi case. When they were in Ohio, they talked about it. They acknowledged it. I think that there was even a web ad about it a couple of months ago. This is not a new story. I reported on it in September 2010 when the plight of these workers first came to light. They've been fighting litigation, fighting the White House on obstruction and a stonewall of information on how exactly the Treasury Department and the Auto Task Force colluded to figure out and pick winners and losers on the financial obligations that they would choose to meet. And the non-union Delphi white-collar workers were cut out of the deal. And in some cases, their pensions were eroded by up to 70%. Tell their stories. There's now a web ad from Let Freedom Ring about some of their stories. But these are real people, as opposed to the phony fable that's been spun by Priorities USA.
What is your blood pressure right now? Is it 220 over 190?
Number.
I think so. They'll put on the Once-a-meter. Let's find out what it is.
Once I have my coffee, my donut, I'll be good.
All right. Breakfast for that lady in Colorado Springs. All right, Michelle, thank you very much.
You bet. Take care, guys.
I think she's wound up. I think a lot of people are wound up about this story.
Allison, you really wound her up.
I did.